Hello, and welcome back to Pathfinder. My name is Philip, and I'm here to talk about Pathfinder 2nd Edition. This is part of a series I am producing covering the various deities in the Pathfinder role-playing game and its setting, the world of Golarion. Last time, I covered Iomedae, the youngest deity in the Core 20, and the goddess of justice, valor, and rulership. This time, I am covering Norgorber, the oldest of the Starstone Ascendant, and the god of murder, secrets, poison, and thievery. Norgorber was the first of the Starstone Ascendant, not including Eredin, having ascended to divinity in 1893 AR. He is known by many titles, including Father Skinsaw, the Reaper of Reputation, the Grey Master, Blackfingers, and the King of Thieves. Norgorber is a tremendously secretive deity, hiding his plans from even his most loyal followers. Norgorber has 4 distinct aspects: murder, poison, thievery, and secrecy, and followers will often worship one of these aspects above all others. Outside of his formal clergy, he is often worshipped by criminals, spies, assassins, and killers. Norgorber's appearance is deliberately obscured, both by his church and by the god himself. He is commonly depicted as a nondescript human male in a cloak, with his face obscured. Rumors claim that any artist who attempts to depict him in greater detail is struck blind, or even dead. As such, he is sometimes simply depicted as an invisible humanoid figure draped in a hooded cloak and wielding a curved sword. Interestingly, despite his focus on criminality, the King of Thieves makes his home on Axis. His divine realm, Duskfathom, serves as the undercity of Axis, and he and his minions exist under the noses of the local authorities. They commonly prey upon the inhabitants of Axis, twisting the laws of the realm to serve their needs whenever possible. The inhabitants of Axis certainly find Norgorber and his servants distasteful, but they recognize his importance as an avatar of crime. For without crime, what purpose would laws serve? Devout followers of Norgorber, called Norgorberite, are called to live lives dedicated to one of his 4 aspects. They exist either in secret or on the fringes of society, hiding their beliefs from others and practicing their faith in the shadows. Many followers engage in the collection of secrets, often with the goal of manipulating or exploiting others. Others will collect a knowledge of poisons, breeding venomous animals, or devising new alchemical concoctions. Still others will engage in more direct criminality, honing their craft as infiltrators, thieves, and murderers. All followers are encouraged to separate their illicit activities from their public identities, maintaining an air of secrecy about their practices and preventing their discovery by authorities. Norgorberites refer to themselves internally as sons and daughters of the mask. Temples to Norgorber are rarely easy to identify, since they hardly ever exist as purpose-built structures. More often, temples take the form of thieves' guilds, alchemical shops, or legitimate business fronts. Outsiders might not be aware when they enter a Norgorberite temple, though they will likely be aware of a generally sketchy vibe. Temple staff will generally provide services in their fields of expertise, both to church members and to members of the public. These locations will only reveal their nature as religious sites under the cover of darkness, in the presence of the faithful. While temples will take various forms, common decorative elements might include masks, displays of toxic plants or animals, or trophies taken during criminal operations. Shrines are extremely rare, as the church seeks to leave little evidence of its presence. Norgorber's holy text consists of at least 17 smaller texts, which are collectively referred to as the words behind the mask. Each of these individual texts is encoded, and can easily be disguised as an otherwise innocuous work. Anthology collections are put together by individual churches, but no 2 anthologies are entirely the same. Individual churches will emphasize sections of the text which emphasize the aspect of Norgorber on which that congregation focuses. The Church of Norgorber has existed in secret since his ascension. Except in Absalom, where they are barely tolerated, Norgorberites are universally considered cultists, and are actively hunted by local authorities. Still, dedicated cults exist throughout the Inner Sea region, including in Taldor, Galt, the River Kingdoms, Varissia, Osirian, Nex, the Shackles, and Mediogalti Island. Humans and halflings make up the majority of Norgorber's followers, and Dromar and gnomes are common as well. Individual cults of Norgorber are generally separated from one another, both for the security of the larger organization, but also because cults typically focus on different aspects of the King of Thieves. Cults dedicated to the art of poisoning worship Blackfingers, the aspect of toxins and alchemy. They are most commonly alchemists, assassins, and herbalists. These followers express their faith by breeding toxic plants and animals, then harvesting their chemicals for refinement. Other followers will focus on synthetic toxins, mixing alchemical reagents and experimenting with their effects on a victim's body. These followers often make their living as apothecaries, selling all manner of chemicals, from poisons and toxins to more innocuous medicines and reagents. These cultists wear masks with eye shields made from smoked glass, which serve both to protect their eyes and obscure their identities. Cultists dedicated to secrets and spying worship the Reaper of Reputation, aspect of secrecy. These followers are most commonly spies and politicians, and generally make their living by trading in information. They will never give out information for free, and will generally require customers to offer secret information of their own in return, often in addition to conventional payment. This cult is the least explicitly evil of the four, as neutral and even good politicians might make use of secret knowledge and spy networks to push their agenda forward, all while following Norgorber's edicts regarding secrecy and information. These followers wear domino or masquerade masks. Cults dedicated to profitable crime worship the Grey Master, aspect of thievery, exploitation, and blackmail. These followers are the most overtly criminal in their behavior, making their living as thieves, extortionists, smugglers, and bandits. This aspect draws a wide range of followers, from lowly pickpockets on the streets to master thieves navigating high society. These followers wear simple masks made of nondescript gray or black cloth, covering the lower half of their face, which can be easily removed. Finally, cults dedicated to murder worship Father Skinsaw, and these are by far the most dangerous of Norgorber's faithful. Rather than quiet, targeted assassinations, Skinsaw cultists tend to revere random, pointless murder, or at least crimes of opportunity. They take immense pleasure in the chaotic change in the world which results from death, often regardless of the nature of that change. Skinsaw cultists have a tendency to develop highly compartmentalized worldviews, keeping their religious life separate from their day-to-day personas. In some followers, this even manifests as a second personality, who keeps the alter ego out of any criminal behavior. These followers wear masks made from human skin, some of which are magically enchanted to allow the wearer to perceive the physical vulnerabilities of their victims. These four individual cults rarely work together toward common goals, though cooperation is not entirely unheard of. Norgorber's origin is the most obscure of the major deities of Golarion. Little to nothing is known about his life before his ascension, particularly outside of his church. The church actively prevents the spread of knowledge about his past, violently maintaining a strict code of secrecy. Some followers believe that if Norgorber's past were to become public knowledge, the god himself would disappear. Norgorber was born and raised in Vyre, the city of masks located north of Kintargo. The city serves as the center of his faith, though even this fact is largely obscured. Beyond this, effectively nothing is known about Norgorber's past. Since his ascension, Norgorber has tried to maintain a neutral relationship with his fellow deities, content to leave them to their own devices. He rarely, if ever, turns up his nose at interactions with other deities, and is more than willing to work with those who treat him with disdain. He understands his usefulness as a god of secrets, and he takes a special pleasure in seeing good-aligned deities come to him, requesting his aid. His murder aspect, Father Skinsaw, is sometimes explicitly allied with Achekek, the assassin god and patron of the Red Mantis assassins, due to their shared interests in killing. Interestingly, this may be a one-sided relationship, as the Red Mantis themselves consider the followers of Father Skinsaw to be little more than savage brutes. Norgorber's thievery aspect, the Grey Master, is aligned with Girona, the angry hag, over their shared interest in exploitation. Similarly, while she is not evil, Sivana, the goddess of illusions, has a deep respect for the need for secrets, putting her on good terms with Norgorber's secrecy aspect, the Reaper of Reputation. Despite Norgorber's best efforts, several notable deities have taken a strong and lasting dislike to him. He has feigned remorse to Sarenrae on multiple occasions, to the point that she now treats him with little more than suspicion. Torag views him as a corrupting influence, particularly the ways the Grey Master's criminal networks undermine the security of cities and fortifications. Similarly, Abadar sees Norgorber's crimes as an undermining of the rule of law, and a burden on justice and trade which hinders the growth of civilization. Erastil hates him for the many lives and families his crimes have destroyed. Finally, each of Norgorber's fellow Ascendant deities, Iomedae and Caden Kalian, see him as an adversary. The Lady of Valor believes he has long evaded a just punishment for his crimes, while the Lucky Drunk considers him a villainous coward. Possibly the most interesting relationship to examine is that between Norgorber and the halfling god of thievery and murder, Thamir Gix. The Church of Gix rose to prominence after the ascendance of Norgorber, though rumors circulate that it existed before that. Some claim that Thamir Gix is a servant of Norgorber, or at least a lesser deity who works alongside him. Others suspect that Gix may have been Norgorber's patron, who supported him through the test of the Starstone. Regardless of the truth of the matter, the two churches are closely aligned today, particularly among those halflings who revere both deities. For players who might be interested in characters who follow Norgorber, here are a few useful details. For those using the alignment rules, Norgorber is neutral evil and will accept followers of any evil alignment and true neutral alignment. His edicts are to keep your true identity a secret, to sacrifice anyone necessary, to take every advantage in a fight, and to work from the shadows. Conversely, to allow your true identity to be connected to your crimes, to freely share a secret, or to show mercy are all anathema to Norgorber. His holy symbol is a black, featureless mask with a single eye. Norgorber's sacred colors are black and brown, though his faith places less emphasis on specific clothing and more emphasis on obscuring one's identity. For this reason, followers tend to wear clothing in line with the current trends in their public-facing identity. They show people what they want to see: a merchant engaging in legitimate business, a mercenary in between jobs, a nobleman attending a party, and so on. Only in their criminal enterprises do they dress in ways which signify their faith in Norgorber, most commonly through the use of masks. The type of mask one wears is dependent on which aspect one worships, as mentioned earlier. Beyond that, followers will generally dress in practical ways for their preferred jobs, ranging from dark, loose-fitting clothing for thieves to lab coats and gloves for alchemists. The biggest exception to this seems to be among the Skinsaw cult, where members often dress in bright red, jester-like hooded cloaks with striped pants. Norgorber's favored weapon is the short sword, and he is commonly depicted with his blade dripping poison. A fair number of his followers wield the short sword, though that is due as much to the weapon's practicality as it is to any religious reverence. Followers in urban settings are just as likely to choose weapons which are easily concealed: daggers, sword canes, war razors, and the like. Followers with alchemical experience are likely to wield alchemical items, and, more commonly, poisons. Norgorber's favored animal is the spider, and many followers of Blackfingers will keep spiders for their venom. For this reason, Other poisonous or venomous animals are favored as well, including snakes, frogs, and fish. Other favored animals include rats, crows, and jackdaws. Norgorber's priesthood is made up of equal shares of clerics, rogues, and bards, though many have taken feats from archetypes which emphasize their interest in thievery, poison, or murder. Followers of Blackfingers might include alchemists, some investigators, and characters with feats from the herbalist or poisoner archetypes. Followers of the Reaper of Reputation will likely be bards, mastermind rogues, outwit rangers, or characters with feats from the Captivator or Loremaster archetypes. Norgorberite who follow the Grey Master are the most broad, including members of most classes, but especially rogues of all rackets. Skinsaw cultists are likely the most martial of the four groups, including fighters, rangers, and rogues, though they may likely take feats from the assassin or similarly lethal archetypes. Note that the assassin has been greatly expanded in Archetypes Plus on Pathfinder Infinite. Clerics participate in each of the four cults, and champions are present as well, though substantially more rare. The alter ego and vigilante archetypes would hold some appeal for all followers who seek to hide their identity. Similarly, the Shadow Dancer archetype aligns nicely with Norgorber's teachings. Humans and halflings make up the bulk of Norgorber's faithful within the Inner Sea region. Gnomes are common as well, drawn to the faith for its emphasis on gathering new secret information and developing new poisons. Dromar are drawn to the church in large numbers due to the discrimination they face in daily life, and other ancestries which face similar challenges might come to the church for the same reason. The faith is most prominent in Taldor, Galt, the River Kingdoms, Varissia, Osirian, Nex, and the Shackles, though the church also has notable strongholds on Mediogalti Island and on the island of Vyre. Devout followers of Norgorber will live lives of secrecy, hiding their true identities and obscuring their motivations. They separate their religious beliefs from their daily lives, often engaging with their faith in private. They rarely draw attention to themselves during their clandestine operations, obscuring themselves with a mask and finding strength in anonymity. The skills they develop through their religious practices are often put to use advancing their public-facing life, and profiting off the faith is common. The faithful typically value information and secrets as much as or more than money. They nearly always devote themselves to one of their god's four aspects, rarely worshipping him in his entirety. For those players looking for more character inspiration, or to homebrew some custom magic items for a follower of Norgorber, check out his first edition page on Archives of Nethys. For GMs looking to integrate Norgorber and his followers into a campaign, here are some ideas. Norgorber's current herald is the Stabbing Beast, a dangerous predator which can assume the form of either a giant scorpion or an armored humanoid with a scorpion's tail. His divine servitors are the Karumzek, human-sized spiders which focus on the alchemical arts. The Church of Norgorber is a center of information and a hub within the underworld. PCs might reasonably see the church as a potential source for information, so long as the information they seek is not about a Norgorberite. The Church of the King of Thieves is more than willing to trade information related to his fellow evil deities, even to good-aligned PCs. Characters seeking information should be careful, however, as the Church rarely asks for simple money in exchange. PCs will likely need to reveal dangerous secrets about themselves to the Church in exchange. This might present an excellent opportunity for the PC's enemies to acquire this information later on and turn it against them. A campaign involving Norgorberite PCs, or PCs knowingly working with the Church, might be especially interesting, allowing players to delve deep into the typically underexplored aspects of the game: intrigue, crime, murder, and manipulation. PCs in such a campaign could be unapologetically selfish, focusing on profit at the expense of others, and taking pleasure in causing their enemies to squirm. In my mind, this campaign might be easier to center around cults of the Reaper or the Grey Master, though Blackfingers or Father Skinsaw might be interesting as well. Notably, Norgorberites are willing to work against both good and evil characters and organizations, presenting a GM with a wide variety of potential challenges to throw at a party. Finally, in a high-level campaign, good aligned PCs might be recruited by one of Norgorber's many enemies to uncover a secret about the King of Thieves. The Church's emphasis on secrecy means that any information on Norgorber himself is especially hidden, and any revelations made about the god himself would be a tremendous embarrassment for the faith. They might even serve to weaken Norgorber himself. As for what a potential secret might look like, I have an idea. Norgorber is generally thought of as a human male, but given his interest in obscuring his true identity, it seems obvious to me that this is almost certainly inaccurate. I like to imagine that Norgorber is instead 4 individuals, one corresponding to each of his aspects, a party of criminals who rose to prominence in Vire and posed as an individual named Norgorber to obscure their true nature. They took the test of the Starstone together and ascended as a single entity. I imagine at least one of these members was a halfling cleric of Thamir Gix, and at least one member likely followed the teachings of a Chakik. So that's it. That's Norgorber, the god of secrets, thievery, poison, and murder. He is shrouded in mystery and secrecy, and keeps his celestial agenda to himself. Next time, I'll be wrapping up my coverage of the Core 20 by discussing the last remaining member of the Starstone Ascendant, and I saved the best for last. Up next is the god of drink, freedom, and adventure, Caden Kalian. If you enjoyed this video, consider checking out my rules supplement Expanded Ancestries on Pathfinder Infinite. It adds over 200 new ancestry feats to the game, spread among each of the ancestries not covered by the Pathfinder 2e remaster. And be sure to like and subscribe to see more videos like this.